Chaim.
This meeting that may have just begun is called Rada.
It's a lower diet. He gives me covered by that.
Okay.
He think I'm getting covered.
Okay, it's an expression in Gemara. Godel me Rabon Shemoy. Gemara Masechta Gittin. Greater than the word, the title of Rabon, is Shmoy. Meir. Gemara speaks about the Meir. Actually, that Gemara speaks about the mile of the Meir. Meir. It was a very, very famous word. Very famous words of Chaim Briscoe of Sholom. What? It's very famous. By the way, I just heard now from Professor Twersky, the son of Professor Twersky of Sholom. He's a professor in his own right, and Chassidish Hayri Talmud Chochem. So he said he has to remember it. That he said that Chaim said on himself, "Ich bin halbe Chossid." And we all know that Chaim had a Chassidish, he was attuned to Chassidischkeit. He never writes about it in the older Yeshimas. Anyway, it's not now is the time. Chaim was a Chassidish Neshama.
What's the word of there?
That's a little patience. You know, it's not Mitzrayim over here. It says, I'm going to take you out of the tolerance to Mitzrayim. You're tolerant that they had patience to Mitzrayim, you know. This is patience, this is not Mitzrayim, this is good to have patience. This song, this Chassidish Nigun, I heard from the Dovid Malkalo just saying the Nigun from, it's called the Yud Beis Thomas Nigun. This Nigun was composed by the famous composer who composed the Beinani, Rabban Chavatodabal of Sholom. He composed it in honor of the first Yud Beis Thomas. Friedrich Rebbe was already not in Russia with Chassidim. He left after Chomoy Tzukis. And Rabban Chavatodabal composed this Nigun. I heard from the Mendel Baumgarten of Sholom, Chassidish Yid and Mendel, the patriarch of the Baumgarten family, Mendel. He says that he remembers when the Rebbe came to the United States, Toshin Aleph, the Rebbe heard this nigun for the first time. The Rebbe didn't hear this nigun. It was composed in Russian. They sang it. The Rebbe was not in Russia. Right? It was in Poland, and then France, Portugal, whatever, and then came to the United States. He heard this nigun the first time. He liked it very, very much. They used to sing this nigun by Farbrengen by the Rebbe. A lot. If I'm not wrong, I don't know, I stand to be corrected, that before they used to start singing Tashan Lamed, they started Farbrengen with the nigun in honor of the Rebbe's capital Tilim. So, hey, like different good. And then Sholom Chavatodabal started composing a special nigun later on, a special nigun composed for every capital every year. I think, if I'm not correct, I stand to be corrected, that this is the nigun they used to start every Farbrengen. And the
capital nigun they started from
later on. That started from Toshin Lamed Aleph.
On the way in.
Later. Lamed Beis, I'm sorry.
That was on the way in, or that was the first nigun of the Farbrengen?
Of the Farbrengen.
Yeah.
Toshin, that started, I was a little boy, was younger than him, but I remember I was in the Latoida, Rabbi Lustig's domain, and I remember that only started Toshin from Shnas HaShivim. Kapitel Ayin Aleph, right. But before they even start Farbrengen with Rebbe's Kapitel. I think this is I'm not sure, but I think so. I heard from Dovid Malka of Sholom. The Malka catering, yeah? Malka, the Dovid of Sholom used to also sustain Ruchni Yizdik. He was a Talmud, a mushper from Shlomo Chaim in Krachabat, Dovid. Farbrengen very nicely in the Catskills. He says he heard from Shlomo Chaim a beard of the nigun, an explanation for this nigun to the he said that the meaning of the niggin is Shlomo Chaim's beer. Chassidim were in Russia, and you can imagine how they felt. The Rebbe, the Gashmis, if the Rebbe wasn't with them. So first they were saying to the Mama yo see Beis Tammuz. We're celebrating the Beis Tammuz Chagagula the Frierdiker Rebbe to the Nitzochaim. But then the niggin goes as follows: to the in other words, the Gashmis, we don't see the Rebbe. Who helped me in the Welt with our situation behind the iron curtain? What's with this? What's going to be? And then the niggin concludes: Afal became in our situation, however it may be, but Afal became. We're not disconnected from the Frierdiker Rebbe, and the Frierdiker Rebbe will be totally victorious. Mashiach will come, and he said that the Shlomo Chaim hat verbracht a ganze Nacht of the Afal became. A whole night that Shlomo Chaim was bringing in Chabad, and the Afal became. The Afal became. Afal became. This week I heard a word from Shlomo Chaim, a very interesting word. I think it's Edelkeit. It's Gedai to share. I think so. I heard this from Sholom Brochstadt. It's interesting. Sholom Brochstadt was a Talmud of speaking about Mechibur Nigunim. Sholom composed a lot of Nigunim. And Sholom was a Talmud in Krach Chabad. He said the Edelkeit of Shlomo Chaim. I think it's good to repeat. He said that there was one Shabbos, it was a Yud Shabbos before Yud Shevat, and all the Brochim were getting aliyas in the Zal. And for some reason, I don't know what it was, there wasn't Mizoyinus, there was no cake, cookies, before davening, before the aliyas, long davening, Yud Shevat, every Yud Shevat, we could daven ba'arichas. So, lo and behold, the Brochim ended up in the kitchen, and what else was there to eat if there was no Mizoyinus? Cholent, cholent. Which is, by the way, a word that the Rebbe cannot never mention of Farbrengen. He says, you say kugel, cholent, the Rebbe cannot never mention that. One time the Rebbe told a Yid who came late to Farbrengen, Mishkanaf came in over there and said, no, she said, noch ein cholent. Came, she noch ein cholent. Rebbe didn't mention the word cholent. He said, if yeah, you say kugel. People say a kugel is with the Mati is 7. All the machalim that we eat on Shabbat, on Shabbos, is always Bigamatri is 7. Yayin is Mispar Katan to Sheva. Shabbat 7. Yayin is 1, another 1, and Nun 50, right? Is Bigamatri 5, so 1 of it. Dag is 7. Chala is 7, right? Chet, Lamed Bigamatri 3. Okay, 8 and 3 is 11. Wait, and how is Hey? How much is altogether? 18. 1 and 6 is 7. Okay, a little Chinese theory here, a little bit, and then you have Basar. Basar is also Bigamati. Everything is 7. Kugel is also Bigamati is 7. Kuf is 1. And Gimel is 4, right? 3. And then another 3 is 7. I mean, Cholent doesn't have a Gemati as 7. This is even not even called Polish Torah. This is real Purim Torah. Okay. So the Brochim ate Cholent before the Aliyas. Some smart aleck, obviously, some big genius, had to tell them Shlomo Chaim. He felt he's going to save the world. So he called the Shlomo Chaim to come down. Shlomo Chaim came into the kitchen, and Shlomo Chaim saw this. All the Brochim ran away, but who was left, he caught red-handed eating cholent, was Sholom Brochstadt. Sholom made cholent. So Sholom says he remembers. You know what he said? Wait till the end of the story. And Sholom said that Shlomo Chaim passed him by, and he told him, "Eskizum to hate. Eat to your healthy appetite. Eat to your health." Didn't say, Abocha asked, he told him, Eskizum to hate. Later upstairs, later in the Zal, he let them have it, everybody. And Shlomo Chaim said, Aliyah stuffed it. You need Aliyah over here. Sholom before davening. Oh, you let them have it. But when the Bacher was eating, again, the Edelkeit von Ayid, what do you? Es Gesundheit. Es Gesundheit. Speaking of Sholem Chaim, by the way, this is a famous word. Some people associate Sholem Chaim to the Peretz Moshkin. Opinion was to say it to the Peretz Moshkin. Mentioned before about Pnimius. Pnimius have to be inward people, not to be external and everything think, make a cheshbon, what for, and then with my Yemer Habriyas, and Maligim. Not ordently, as we said before. If you want to know, someone should know, it's enough here and there. The Peretz and Sholem Chaim used to say it in a different way. The opinion of the Sholom Tekazim Mashiach the Peretz Moshkin. What's meant pnimius? To be honest, to be worthy and intrinsic. He would say, we all know what it says in Zohar HaKadosh, that Araisa below the chilu or the chimu lo parchalayla. Torah, without avaviyira, Torah, without fear and love of God, doesn't go up l'mayla. It stays stuck over here. It needs wings to uplift the Torah. With parchalayla. And by the way, you should know that the Litvische crowd, the Litvische Yidden, would love to learn Torah. We could learn from them. They love Torah. It's a beautiful midah. People in the light sit and learn Torah. A beautiful thing we could learn from them, Avos HaTorah. The Frierdiker Rebbe couldn't find a better place to speak about the love that the Litvische Yidden have for Limud HaTorah in the Akdama Teitz Chayim, where he speaks about learning Chassidus and about Timchet Mimim and so on, and to learn Shabbos should be Kulei Kodesh, and during the day, every week should be a third Chassidus. Over there, as the expression is, in Kundes Eitz Chayim and Akdama, that's where he writes. I was very impressed with the Avos HaTorah that the Litvische Yidden have. He says, when I was in Brisk for 4 days, I think in the 4 days, he says, people came to me, to Yechidus, mothers, fathers, and all the details I remember, and all they asked of me was, Rebbe, give me a bracha, that my children should be b'nei Torah, that my sons-in-law should be b'nei Torah. And the Frierdiker Rebbe admires that, and he adores that. We should learn from that. Avos HaTorah. As the Ramban says, Avos HaTorah and Avos Hashem, and Avos Yisrael and Avos Eretz Yisrael come together. But the very same Litvische crowd that loves Torah, this prat that without it ever writes in Tanya, that without avaviyira, the Torah doesn't go up, that they don't find so much exactly in accordance with so to say, their style. No. Not everybody is to learn Torah Lishma. In Lubavitch as well, not everybody is learning Torah Lishma. Right? So what does it mean? Torah without avaviyira doesn't go up l'mayla? Yeah. Now the Rebbe says, "B'torah shalei lishma bo lishma," right? If you should learn Torah anyway, not to learn Torah. B'torah shalei lishma, you're going to come to lishma. Rabbi always used to repeat the Rebbe's word. Rabbi "B'torah shalei lishma." Rabbi was the concept. In the shalei lishma is the toich. Your depth of the neshama really wants to learn lishma. So the Toich Shalei Lishma will bring you to Lishma eventually in a revealed way. But after all, they have a little complications, if you could say, with this expression, very famous, to the extent that one of the Litvische Gedolim, the Rabbi Yeshua the Tzeitlin, asked this question to the Alter Rebbe. This is all recorded in Beis Rebbe. Very famous. Asked this question to the Alter Rebbe. When Alter Rebbe was incarcerated a second time, twice Alter Rebbe was Malshinus a second time, the malicious slander of the the people who unfortunately didn't connect themselves properly was the Malshinus, the slander of the Alter Rebbe. The second time was even worse than the first time, it says. The Alter Rebbe was in house arrest, and there was one Jew who was very, very active in releasing the Alter Rebbe out from the house arrest, with the Shahid. And he told the Alter Rebbe that if the Alter Rebbe promises him that he will visit the Litvish Gedolim, so he will be very active in trying to get the Alter Rebbe released from the house arrest. The Alter Rebbe said, yeah. Because he had some connections. And what it was is he put it says that the king, as soon as he assumes leadership, the first, like they say, the presidential pardon. So the first request that's on top of the pile, he always fulfills that request. So he managed to put the request for the release of Rabbi Shnei Zalman Abaladi on top of the pile. In the Beis Rabbi it says, by the way, that it's good to have this for the record, that the king caught on with it. He saw that this was put on top, so it's important that we should know a little bit Chassidish pride. And he says, the king said it wasn't necessary. I was going to release him anyway. He picked up that this was put on top, so not, not to give extra credit, as they say, Vidal. Now, Kaponim, now Rebbe fulfilled his promise, and he visited the three Litvish Gedolim. And one of the Gedolim, one of the great Torah scholars, was a Talmud of the Shagasayid, of Yeshua Letzeitlin. There's a lot of stories, speaks about how he greeted him and so on. Then later he befriended the Alter Rebbe. And then he got straight to the point. He says, in your Sefer, in Tanya, you write that Elaisa v'loy dechilu rechimu l'porchaleilu. Where's the source for that? That Torah without Yid Vav doesn't go up l'mayla. Where's the source? So the Alter Rebbe writes, I write over there in my, you said you read my book, right? I write over there. The source is from Zohar HaKadosh. He said, I don't want just from Zohar. He said, we don't pass him from Zohar. Which is, by the way, not correct. That's not correct, by the way. Now, the Pillow Padisha writes, it's brought out on Shulchan Aruch in the back. The Pillow Padisha says he heard from the Alter Rebbe. That the Alter Rebbe alone said, who says you don't pass? Whenever there's a machlokes of Bali Kabbalah and Bali Nigla, you pass like a Bali Kabbalah Nigla. Who says that? The Bali Nigla say so. But the Bali Kabbalah say not so. So though in Shulchan Aruch I write that Kol Mokim Shebali HaKabbalah Chelkam HaBali Nigla, you go according to Bali HaKabbalah, you make 2 brachas on the tefillin. Mitzvah's tefillin on Shorosh? No, but we don't pass like that in the Siddur because we follow the Bali Kabbalah. And the Rebbe alone uses that in the Kudah quite a few times, and one of the main times that the Rebbe uses it, the main time, is where the Rebbe says not to skip before davening. And not to skip, you come into Shul, and you start to Baruch Sholom, and then, right away, Ashrei, and a little Halavuka, and then you write, I met the Adam of a million, I'm not like this Chassidish guy sitting there, Karbonis, it says you have to daven with a minion. By the way, I didn't come early into Shul. How about that? Coming early into Shul, so you want not to come in the last minute? How about that? Got to think about that. Maybe it's a good idea to come early into Shul, so even as a Baal Nigla, you could perhaps daven everything and daven with a minion. That's sort of a good question. And then you say, I'm happy, I made God happy, I daven with a minion, and that's about it. And the Rebbe says no, especially Talmidei HaYeshiva, they asked the Rebbe about special kinderlach like you. Where you learn, what yeshiva do you learn? Al Torah. And you? Wow. And you? I also learned Al Torah. Rebbe's yeshiva. Very nice. Very nice. Also didn't know, that's the Rebbe's yeshiva. And you too, really? You know what the Rebbe once told Rabbi Teitelbaum, a famous story? The Rebbe said, you know that story, they wanted to take the Mechol Teitelbaum to Adin Torah, the Rebbe's brother-in-law. He opened a yeshiva, Sogas Gevul, even though Al Pei Aloch is not Sogas Gevul. And Rabbi Teitelbaum was very scared, you know, the Rashad, the Rebbe's son-in-law, the Rebbe's brother-in-law. He said, what am I going to do over here? So he wrote to the Rebbe. So the Rebbe told him, tell the Rashag, why is he taking you to the Din Torah? He should take the real, the emes of Balabos. Oh, Rashag heard that. So right away he finished. Take the real Balabos. You're living in the Rebbe's yeshiva, you don't imagine. Okay? It's a big schus. And the Rebbe's yeshiva, the Rebbe's no English, no nothing, no Chachmas Chitzonius, just Liman HaTorah. Unbelievable. So, this Litvishi told Al the Rebbe, I don't want to know about Kabbalah, Zohar, even though really Al Pi Halacha, the Rebbe says you shouldn't skip davening. Why don't skip it? Oh, who told you he's a Chassid Litvishi? He was born in Levita, Bedel's Ross.
Nephew.
I'm a Plemanik from Nevet Bedel. Wow. Very nice. Mein Tate war Sholom gewesen ein Yedid mit der Gershon Edelstein. Ein Yedid Nemo. Der Mann mit der Tate. Ich habe der Gershon Stüber Sachmol. Okay, Baruch Hashem. Kolona bin ich noch. So, it's not so simple when you say it's not in accordance with the Nigla, because the Balei Kabbalah say not so. And the Rebbe writes that you should not skip davening. You should not skip davening, the Rebbe writes. Especially children, don't educate the children to skip davening. Because you're training them, basically, Chalila to be mezalzel, you know, from young, they'll skip the davening. And the Rebbe borrows a phrase from Gemara. The Rebbe said, I'll borrow a phrase from Gemara, Chalil of Shabbos achas k'dei sheyishmer Shabbos is harbe. Desecrate one Shabbos, so that you should be able to fulfill and keep and observe many Shabbos in the future. So even Al Pi Nigla, says the Rebbe, even Al Pi Nigla, it's kedai to overlook the psak that you have to daven with a minyan, but overlook it. Chalol of Shabbos achas kedei sheyishma, to train the kids to daven with a minyan properly and daven the whole davening. And besides that, again, says the Rebbe, there are 102 opinions, Kuf Beis Deis in Balei Kabbalah, from the, brought down in the Kaf HaChaim, that the Balei Kabbalah say that you're not supposed to skip the davening, because Chas v'Sholom you mahapach the yotzres. Can you imagine? You're turning around the whole Seder is going down. You're making a whole mishmash over there. In any case, this Litvishi, the Shagazayis Talmud, he asked Al Rebbe, I'm not just interested in Zoya, we don't pass Sholom. But he says, we don't pass like Zoya in his opinion. He wants to know another marker. Al Rebbe heard, and Al Rebbe says, okay, you asked for it. Every Al Rebbe says, I'm a Feirische Gemara. Feirische Gemara? This is a famous story. Feirische Gemara is a big Talmud Chacham, more than a Talmud Chacham. He went through, you know, his mind. He showed it in Shas and his 4 fingers. Tells the Al Rebbe, Ishtas HaGemara. Al Rebbe says, It's a Befeirische Gemara in Seder Moyed. He thinks Shabbos, Psochim, Erevin. Tells the Al Rebbe with a certainty, Ishtas HaGemara. So the Al Rebbe told him it's a Gemara in Psochim. Here he didn't question anymore, and basically he was asking Al Rebbe, tell me, you based on the Maisa? The Al Rebbe didn't gesagt. The Gemara says in the beginning of Makom Shanagu, Rove Romi, or the May, Bedikta Grove, asked the question. In one pasuk it says, Ki Godel Ad Shemayim Chasdecho. Another pasuk it says, Ki Godel Me'al Shemayim Chasdecho, which simply means, Ad Shemayim means your kindness is limited till the sky. Another pasuk it says, your kindness is beyond leaps and bounds. It goes, well, it surpasses way to heavens. It's above limitations. Me'al Shemayim Chasdecho. How does Hashem conduct with us? With a chesed. So another said, Kan bo'osim lishma, Kan bo'osim shaloi lishma. If you serve Hashem lishma, l'shem shamayim, so then it's me'al shamayim. If you serve the Eibishter just in a limited way, shaloi lishma, shaloi lishma, bo lishma, the Gemara says, it's only ad shamayim. So till then, everybody learned the Gemara, that it means that the response of the Eibishter will be in a limited way. If you're only serving Shaloi Lishma, it's Ad Shemayim. If you serve me Shaloi Lishma, it'll be Me'al Shemayim Chasdecha. So now the Rebbe says, no. The Pshat in the Gemara is that when you serve Hashem Lishma, then the Torah goes Me'al Shemayim, it's Per Chalayla. And if you serve Shaloi Lishma, then the Torah only goes Ad Shemayim. A deeper Pshat in the Gemara. Mamash what it says in Zayar. And the Bishul at Satan was extremely disposed, of course, from the Alter Rebbe's Geizinsky to say the least. That's a famous story. So the Peretz Moshkin or Sholom used to translate if a Taich Nachsidish a Taich. He said, right? Torah without fear and love of God doesn't go up the mile. You need the wings to pick it up. Now I'll tell you explain to Tanya why. Just learned it recently. So the Peretz used to demand, he says, that some people, in Chassidishkeit, but where's the substance? Where's the davening? Where's the learning? And the Peretz touched us, no Torah. The Chimo Beloi, this geht davening. Was bist du gegen Chassid? Parchalele fliegt in Himmel. And if Shlomo Chaim used to say the same word to the Bachrim or to the light, they used to go to the Rebbe to Metzasol on the plane. You're going to the Rebbe. You're coming for Yud Shevat. Everybody's flying to the Rebbe Yud Shevat, even those who live in Crown Heights. We're all going to the Rebbe. He says you're going to fly up in the air in the high heights, right? High heavens in the sky with a plane. He says, the Chimo B'Lah. Parchel Hill, Frieden Himmel is taking a ticket to Crown Heights, to the Rebbe. Because that's going to be so pnimius. It has to be pnimius. A bissel emeskite with it. Me fliegt dahin, me fliegt ahead. The externalism is very important, no question about it. And it keeps hope alive, no question about it. No question about it. It's important, the externalism. But we have to remember, it's not a world of sensation. Hide all sensations. I'm sorry, I'm accounting for my white hair, my beard, I can keep Musa. It's a generation of sensations. You heard this clip and that clip and choosing who's better. This guy says better stories, better sensations. On top of 11, I've got Gemara showing it from the art school. They're teaching me. Schottenstein is teaching me, I call it the GPS Gemaras. Why call it GPS Gemaras? Because you got to your destination, but you don't know how you got there. Art Scroll, or the Mesifta Gemara, or the Shasl Blin, or Evan Yisrael. I've learned Gemara in Ashi. I've learned Gemara in Ashi. Someone said a Gvak word. He says, Art School does a good job, but Rashi macht a better job. If someone could write an article, there are many smart people here at this table. If someone could write an article about Rashi's ingenuity in psychology, he was the greatest psychologist. He knew exactly, the Kedusha von Rashi. The Kedusha von Rashi. But how he exactly knew how to make the student feel involved, how much to give him. He should make him participate. It's incredible. The Rashi HaKadosh. So to be emes, to learn emes, a primis, a kwad geworden mit Rashi, Teusfes, a sicher von dem Reden, mit Händen, mit Fies. With the orders of the Rebbe, a bisschen primis. We should be a reister with Chilu Rechimu, and then it's Porchel Level L'chaim. We should learn from the Rebbe to be primistic, the Tati given up Pnimi, when Ed is up Pnimi, and we should learn, and that's Yud Shevat. Yud Shevat is not just a day of Porchel Level, but it should be a day of inwardness, and make a Cheshman Tzedek, Hashem Matev Cholkeinu, and we'll give God and Gichel B'Zeicha to these gallows of the Rebbe, as the Shia and the Seed of Reina Mashiach said, Keinu take of Miyad Pavish.
Oh, L'chaim. Da 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 da